Hello, good evening, friends. Today I will inform you people on different types of tests of English language, what we have. I'm sure you people have heard about PTE, English test, and most of you must be knowing about IELTS or TOEFL, or different tests are there. Even Duolingo test is also there. So many tests are there of English language. So first of all, I think we should know why do we have these tests. I mean, are these examination bodies which are run either by UK or by the USA? So what is their thought behind the test? Why do we need to clear this test? So we can just imagine any foreigner coming to our place, not knowing our language and working. So what we expect is that he or she should have certain level of proficiency, the what we say the working proficiency of a language. Any language can it be it Malayalam or English or French or German or Spanish. So, out of all the 193 or 200 countries what we have in the world, all the people do their international business, international communication, international relation, diplomacy. All these things happen in English. But every country has its own language. So every country does not speak English. English is mainly spoken by 7 nations of the world to whom it is their mother tongue. So what are these countries? These nations are, I mean, three from the UK, that is Scotland, Ireland, and England. Then we have in Oceania, we have Australia and New Zealand. From Africa, we have South Africa speaking English as their mother tongue besides their regional languages. And then we have the USA, where people speak English. And then we have Canada, where English is the prime language, followed by French, and these days, in fact, Spanish is also picking up in places like Quebec. So why do we need to pass our English proficiency test? The main reason is that we are able to work at international frequency. Yeah, so what I was saying is that we need to have basic proficiency in these tests. Either we can take PTE, or we can take IELTS or TOEFL. So the main thought behind evaluating us on our English is that we should have the working proficiency in any of these in any of these English speaking countries which I have mentioned. So working proficiency means, why do we need working proficiency? We need working proficiency for two reasons primarily. The first being when we go overseas to study, and secondly to be able to move in that country or to do some job or to do some business. So that is why we are evaluated. And then there are different types of English, different types of exams. So today I will tell you about PTE mainly. Out of all these exams, most of them they have almost the same kind of curriculum. They have the same kind of vocabulary. They expect us to learn the same kind of verbs, because in that way we are proficient enough to be able to communicate to the people over there, and we are also proficient enough to be able to understand the natives, the most important thing. Because if with the Indian English, if we go to, suppose we go to UK, there are different accents. But yeah, the grammar is same. So how to reach a common international proficiency of English, which is accepted globally or all over the world, that is PTE. Now, how PT is different from IELTS and how IELTS is different from TOEFL, that depends from individual to individual. According to one's priority, one can take up any of these examinations. Yes, so with these examinations, we can travel anywhere in one of these 196 or 200 countries what we have in the world. We can travel anywhere, and we possess a good level of English proficiency. Now with PTE, the thing is that it is suited to the people who have less time to study for IELTS, and who already have basic knowledge of English, and they cannot take TOEFL, and they cannot take IELTS, or they are not able to take Duolingo test. But what they aspire is to appear for an exam and just get the proficiency certificate. Just they prove their English to the world, and they get a positive result in 2 days time. So that is PTE. So this exam is basically focusing on checking the 4 aspects of English. In all the languages, we have 4 aspects, and they are inseparably connected. We cannot separate these 4 elements or the components, linguistically speaking, about any language, which are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So what happens eventually when I'm writing a new language, when I'm writing English? So at that time I am reading it also. My skills to read it correctly, to be grammatically correct, my sentences are correct, my words are correct, my grammar is correct, my knowledge about application of the correct and the precise verb is also there. So these are the 2 aspects of any language. Any language what we learn is important to us. So we need to know these 2 aspects. One is one is writing, and one is reading. If I can read correctly, I can write correctly. And if I can write correctly, I will read correctly. So they are quite connected, these 2 aspects. The other 2 aspects would be like, they are also connected. That is listening and speaking. Again, the same thing applies here. If I speak correctly, I listen correctly. If I listen to a language correctly, I mean any foreign language, so obviously my listening practice has been done correctly, so I can speak it also correctly. So these 4 aspects are inseparably connected to each other in any process of learning of any of the foreign languages. Now, what is a foreign language? Any language which our mother was not speaking when we were born, which is not our mother tongue, in which we do not think, is a foreign language. And mother tongue is a language in which we think. So human mind is always thinking, and for thinking also it needs a language. So any language which is not the language of our mother, our parents, mainly mother primarily, because there is no father tongue, there is always a mother tongue, because child learns first the language spoken by his or her mother. So coming back to the point, from linguistics, these four aspects are quite connected with each other, and in PTE, all these four elements are examined. We are supposed to know the basic of writing, and this writing is connected to the basic of what we say reading, and similarly reading is connected to the basic of speaking, and speaking is connected to the basic of listening. So all these four components are inseparably connected. So in PTE, what do we have to do? We have 20 elements to be evaluated. Few elements are evaluated in the writing skills, few elements are evaluated in the reading skills, few elements are evaluated in the listening skills, and few elements are evaluated in the speaking skills. So it is an IBT. IBT means internet-based examination, internet-based test. Whereas for TOEFL and IELTS, it can be internet-based test also, and it can be paper-based test also. But this PTE is completely different from other tests. Not in terms of curriculum, not in terms of the spectrum of English knowledge what we are evaluated upon. It is different primarily because of its fast result production. Like, I appear for the exam, I take the exam today or tomorrow. So in 2-3 days I can get the certificate of my performance, and if I have performed well, if I have touched that English, international level English of PTE, and I'm scoring a grade, let us say around in 60s, if I'm scoring that grade, so it means I have done good enough, and I possess that certificate which will be required by so many countries wherever I apply for, either for studies or for settling up there or for working there or for different visa formalities. In that way, all these countries are assured, these English speaking countries from Canada up to Australia, all the countries I have mentioned, they are assured, the government is assured, like this gentleman or this lady who possesses PTE, he or she is able to survive perfectly fine in any kind of work in these countries. So that is the reason of existence of PTE. Earlier it used to be called as London English Test, but at present this test is conducted by one famous group of UK, which is dedicated to book publishing, and they have undertaken this task to conduct these examinations worldwide. So it is an IBT, internet-based test. So you can take the test from anywhere, wherever you are, and but you can only take it in the centers where PTE centers which are specialized for taking up these exams. So this curriculum of PTE tests our ability to read English correctly, not to read with Indian accent. Yeah, we are Indians, we speak English in different ways from the region, to the region we belong, and according to the listening we have done of English since our childhood. So PTE expects us to be able to be understood, like we are understood internationally, everywhere. Accent is not an issue, but the most important thing is that to know the basic English correctly and to be able to deliver it smoothly, confidently, correctly, and then you have all these 7, 8 nations what I have mentioned. I mean, two nations of the North America, which are the USA and Canada, primarily speaking English. Then we have Australia and New Zealand, South Africa, and then we have three countries of the UK: Ireland, Scotland, and England. So that is the reason, my dear friends, we are evaluated uh, internationally. So, how to pass PTE? How can we pass it? It's not difficult to pass it. It's not at all a hard nut to crack. It's very easy. Just maintain a habit of because first we should know what is the thought of the exam. The thought of the exam is the working knowledge. So working knowledge means what's happening in society, what we see in the city, uh, everything what we do right from the morning till night, so that you are expected to express this correctly in PTE. And whatever we hear, whatever we see through media or in our workplace, we are supposed to express all these things correctly in PTE. Correctly and smoothly and confidently. So it is not difficult. I think the first step towards attaining PTE certificate, PTE proficiency, is first of all not to worry and develop a habit of reading some English magazines. Online magazines are available. So many English magazines. You can pick up from any of the topics you can pick up, but maintain a habit of reading every day, at least for half an hour. Casual reading. Just try to learn 2 or 3 new words if you feel like. Otherwise, you should have the comfort level in reading English every day. So that is for writing and reading. And for speaking and listening, I think you people should be watching some programs, maybe from any of the countries. It can be a Canadian telenovel, or it can be a BBC broadcasting news, or it can be a TV serial or documentary from Canada. Or you might watch, if you are a nature lover, then you might watch to might watch the documentaries by David Attenborough, a very famous documentary maker on wildlife and on nature. So anything. I mean, your interest could be football, your interest could be music, your interest could be nature. Just ask yourself, what is your liking? What is your interest? Your area of interest. Suppose any boy says, "Oh, I like football." Okay, your area of interest is football. Okay, go to some sports magazines which talk about your topic, the topic what you like. You like Western music, Western classical music, Western pop music, any kind of music you like. Okay, go to the magazine and try to read upon your own area of interest. I think that is the first step which all PTE aspirants should do. Similarly, one girl might be interested in, suppose, traveling. Okay, so she can read traveling magazines. Anyone wants to become a journalist in English. anyone aspiring to become a journalist or a correspondent of any news channel overseas out of India, but they want to become a news correspondent from India, but the news will be telecast globally. Okay, so for that, you should read the articles written by the journalists, in which journalists talk about their opinions. Anyone interested in politics, read politics. So, whatever you are interested in, just discover yourself, ask yourself when you wake up in the morning, the first thing, when the mind is pure in the way, I mean, it is relaxed, right? When the mind is relaxed, it doesn't have so many things in the morning. So, just ask yourself the first question, like, what is your area of interest? And when you know your area of interest, just develop a habit of reading your area of interest, either from Canada, US, UK, maybe online magazines from Australia, maybe online magazines from Zimbabwe, South Africa, any of these countries where English is the mother tongue. That is the first step. Second step is to watch some online programs, documentaries, to be able to have good listening ability. When you hear a word first time, suppose, let's take a word, power. British people say power, American English might say power, right? So when you have heard power, like American pronunciation 5 times, it will not create any question in your mind, like what is power in the US English. So similarly, the more I listen to a new language, the more I read about a new language, the more I know. That is a simple formula. So in today's talk, I have told you what exactly is PTE and what exactly are the exams of English proficiency all over the world, and why all the nations of the world appear for these examinations. Maybe they are the Spanish, they are the French speakers, they are Germans, they are Japanese, Korean speakers, Arabic speakers, Persian speakers, Chinese speakers, all want to appear for these international English accreditation exams. Why? So this I've explained to you, to be able to speak and understand and to communicate at the international frequency. And then I have told you what is PTE and how it is different from other examinations and to whom it suits. And then I have also told you about the ways to begin your PTE preparations. So when you begin in this way, then gradually you reach the level to begin formal studies with our academy. Because I've been talking about us, we are professionals in terms of PTE, OET, Cambridge proficiency tests, different tests of English, and IELTS and TOEFL. Because we have faculty who have experience of 30, 40 years, 20 years of teaching IELTS. So that's why it will not be a difficult thing with us for you to clear and reach that level of PTE like I have described. So first steps of the staircase I have shown to you. Now you have to climb the staircase, and if you climb it once, you do your PTE once, then obviously you have that proficiency certificate throughout the life with you, and it is a qualification which you have for the entire life, and it opens you so many ways for you to work in these countries if you are aspiring to work in these countries. Even if you are not aspiring to work in these countries, even then I think you should take PTE, because in that way you better your English. You better your English, which is used in India also. India is a country where most people speak English in the world. India is a country which has most number of English newspapers, which has most number of English writers. In fact, too, right from the time of British time till now, so many writers, so much of literature we have in English. But we use English for official purposes. Some people speak English because their mother tongue in India is English. That's a different thing. But generally, we are also an English speaking country, but specifically in the official use. So, India is also a very famous country for teaching English and for applying English in its official use, because we have derived our official hierarchy from the British people as they left. So I have explained all this to you. I think this is good enough to be motivated to start with the magazine and with something to listen, maybe music, maybe some interviews, maybe some talks, and try to make some questions on whatever you hear, whatever you read. Try to make some questions. If I can make questions, I can easily answer the questions. So making a question means you know the language grammatically correct and you have got the essence of the text also. So it's not at all a difficult thing with us. So start your English teachings, your English learning, and I think this is good enough to be motivated to take the first step, and we always welcome you. Any of your queries by phone, by WhatsApp, by email, or you can also simply visit us. We are very hospitable people. We will guide you. And if you want to take up a program with our professional teachers, you're always welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.